the legislature thing, one thing I will tell you is, your legislatures need to hear from you, and I like what they said about contacting where you're from, especially if you're from Oklahoma, or if you're out from outside of Oklahoma and, paying attention to what's going on in your home state. Contact your legislatures. Phone calls go further than emails. And if you're like me, I tend to get really nervous. I would rather text or email, but if you'll pick up the phone, a lot of the times it's gonna be an assistant or somebody that takes your message anyway. You tell them your name, where you're registered to vote, and that you're a constituent of theirs, and then just give them a brief, I want my legislator to know I am opposed to 1017 because of this. And you can have it written out before, they're gonna take note of it, take the message, and then go on. Or you may even end up leaving a voicemail. But emails, they tend to just, kind of do what we do. Scroll past them. A lot of times those bills, things like that, with what they read about 1017, the person who authored that, I'll just be honest with you, a lot of times they don't know what the ramifications are gonna be in that. So they think it sounds like a good idea, I'll do this, it's gonna save us money on this, and then they put it out, and then we come back and say, oh, this is gonna take away all of these things that are 100% absolutely necessary in schools. And it takes us going back and calling them and saying, hey, did you know that this is gonna be, a result of that bill that you put out? And they sometimes will come back on some of that sort of stuff. They had to do that last year with the communication bill. Teachers shouldn't have communication one-on-one with their students. Sounds like a great idea to protect students, absolutely. They weren't thinking about when I'm in New York City here in a week or in a month or so with 40 high school kids, and somebody down the street needs something and they're not allowed to text me and I can't text them back. That is something that they didn't think about when they do those bills, And so thankfully they did come back and reword some of that to make it for some exceptions, that sort of stuff. But anyway, I could get on a soapbox about that, and that's not what I'm here to talk about. So let me start with, my name is April Rains. I am the director of vocal music at Stillwater High School, and I'm in my second year at Stillwater. I taught the last 20 years in Durant, Oklahoma, and then I have a couple of other school districts as well, but the majority of my time has been in Durant. You can go on my little meeting slide. There we are. And I put Lydia up there. I'm also Lydia's mom. I'm very proud of that. This is my 25th year as a music educator. I did complete my undergraduate degree here at Oklahoma State and taught at a private school here in Stillwater, actually while I was doing what you're doing as an undergrad. That's where I started my teaching. And then after graduation, I moved and started teaching in other school districts. I taught a couple of years in Texas and then came back to Oklahoma, was in Durant, and then made my way to Stillwater. I put a couple of things up there for me. When we do our handbook and our meet the teacher, it's a full page, but I didn't figure you needed to know all of that. I did receive an OMEA Exemplary Teacher Award a few years ago. I'm the current state president for ACDA for Oklahoma, which is the American Choral Directors Association. And I have been married for 25 years as well, and we have 3 children who are all musicians. My husband is actually a software engineer, but he's a musician by hobby. And I like to say things about my personal life. I'm an avid OSU sports fan, especially wrestling. And I also, the last thing on my list in my handbook is that I'm a directioner, but I didn't add that to my slide because I know that usually embarrasses my daughter. So I like to attend lots of concerts of any type, and anything from what you would find here at the McKnight Center to, I've seen Harry Styles a couple of times, and all kinds of stuff like that. And then you can also find me in Gallagher-Iba on any given weekend as well. So lots of range of things. And I think it's important for our students to get to know us as people and not just as the teacher in the front of the room. So I do tend to share a little bit of that with them. So professional organizations, you guys already have a head start because you're a member of your collegiate chapter of NAFME, which is wonderful. Professional organizations are important because they give you access to resources. They give you opportunities to network with other peers and also experts. They give you lifelong learning opportunities with professional development and things like that, and also foster collaboration, which I personally am a huge fan of. So these organizations are vital to us as professionals. They provide resources that we can use in the classroom through workshops and things like that. They help us to navigate the challenges that come with teaching, because there are challenges. Most of it is really fun and I love to do, but there are challenges. Resources like magazine articles, websites, talking to leading experts. Those are things that you're going to get in professional organizations that you're not going to get by just staying in your classroom. The world is a lot smaller with the access to the internet and things like that, but that also means that it's easier to become involved with our professional organizations as well. And so we want to continue to strive to meet each other and make connections, not just online, but online is a great way to do that as well. Networking opportunities also allow educators to connect with other people in your field and share experiences. A lot of times we can feel in the classroom like we're on an island, especially in our field where we are sometimes what I call singletons. You may end up in a district or teaching somewhere where you're the only person that teaches what you teach, and you're going to need that outside network. It's important to have a network in your building as well and in your district, but it's also important to have another person that you can call that does exactly what you do. And you want to build those relationships, and you're doing that right now by being a part of this organization, but you want to continue to do that. And 25 years in, being in a leadership position in an organization, I'm still making those connections, and I still find that I meet new people that I can then call for things, and you just don't ever want to stop doing that. Collaboration. Collaboration is another thing that happens when you're networking and meeting people. You can then begin to collaborate in performance opportunities and do exchanges with friends and people that you meet. I'm really thrilled that I've been able to develop a collaboration with OSU in the last year that I didn't have before. And collaboration makes us better. Collaboration challenges you and forces you to be creative, and that's just so important to always be striving to do more in that area, in that aspect. Workshops and conferences, those are things that your professional organizations are going to give you. And I was telling some of my colleagues at the high school, I'm in a really special place right now with colleagues, and we actually eat lunch together every day. I've never, in 25 years of teaching, I have never been in a building where the performing arts team eats lunch together every day. But we were eating lunch together yesterday, and I was telling them about this presentation and what I was going to talk about, and my department chair spoke up and he said, "Be sure and tell them." So we can tell them tomorrow. I said, that when you are, newly graduated and you're a new teacher, and there's going to be all these reasons of, I'm just swamped in the new job, I'm trying to pay off my student loans, I don't have the money to do this, or I can't take off work, I just started this job. That is the most important time for you to attend workshops and conferences with your professional organizations. So I encourage you to just make a habit from year one of attending conferences. And I know there's a group of you going to TMEA soon, right? And several of you went to OMEA. I can't speak too much to the string organization or the state string organization and the state band organization. I assume they have their things. Choral people, I can talk to you tons about our state choral convention that happens in the summer. But I encourage you to seek those out. And I know it's hard sometimes to walk in the door by yourself. Drag a buddy with you, or that's again another reason to build those relationships and connections that you can take somebody with you, or just be brave. It's hard. I'm one of those people that I'm extroverted, but I don't like to walk into a room where I don't know people. Once I know people, then I'm fine. But it's worth it. If you will walk in the room and go to that conference. I'll talk more about conferences specifically, but I just wanted you to know that I just think that they're really important, and just set that habit from the get-go of attending those workshops and those conferences for many reasons that we're gonna mention. Okay, so a little more detail about some of the resources that I would recommend to you as you branch out into your teaching career and branch out even more from NAFME. Of course, NAFME covers everything, right? But then you also have your specific organizations for your specific instrument or field. So you have your elementary groups. I know Dr. Haley mentioned ORF and Kodai. I know both have workshops and things, and organization memberships. National Association for Teachers of Singing, National Music Teachers Association, and then you've got your National, correct me if I'm wrong, National Bandmasters Association. I think it's Bandmasters, yeah. National Bandmasters Association, and then the String Teachers Association, National String Teachers Association, and then of course ACDA, your American Choral Directors Association. So you'll want to find some of those specific ones too. Those organizations are going to give you access to so much teaching materials, lesson plans. They give you new ideas for classroom instruction. They're going to make it easier for you as new teachers to create very engaging lessons. So trade with colleagues in your area, share. When I find something on a website, I'm immediately calling my people and saying, did you see this lesson that they put up on the ACDA website? Did you see this? I bet you could use it. I'm gonna do it this way, you should do it this way. Share those things with each other and point them out. Sometimes those big websites can be a little overwhelming, but I encourage you to get in there and dig in and find those kinds of things. Read the journals. And I know I got one last week, and I sat it on the desk. I keep pointing it out to Lisa because she and I have been spending every day together recently. And I put it on the desk, and I said, hey, we need to go through this before we go to Dallas for ACDA, and it's still sitting there. But I will take time, read those journals when they come in the mail, read the emails. I've had to kind of just start leaving mine on unread until I get to it, or I'll star it until I get to it, but at least go through and hit the highlights and see, because there's things in there that you're going to want to see. And at this point, especially early on, and I say that, and I'm, like I said, 25 years in, and I'm still learning from those things that are sent out that way. Go to the website. I don't know how many times people come to me when they're trying to register for the summer conference, or they come in for all-state registration and they're like, let me see if I can remember my login to the website so I can find my membership. No, you need to know how to get into that website and get into the member resources. Don't just let that sit there. You're paying your dues anyway. Get in there and use that material. I did a little bit when preparing for this. I kind of scrolled around some with the instrumental websites, but I know ACDA's pretty well, and I know NAFME's pretty well, and know exactly where to go when I want what is some standard repertoire for a beginning high school choir that doesn't have a lot of DVC. there are literally lists of repertoire on the ACDA website, okay? So you need to know where those things are and before you really need them. So spend some time looking through those websites and just seeing what all is there, and then bookmark and all that kind of stuff. Because there's loads of things in those journals, newsletters, websites that you probably don't even know that you need to know until you need to know, and then you don't know where to go and find it. Does that make sense? Professional development. So ongoing professional development. I know you've heard that, and you've heard your teachers talk about it, and we want to be lifelong learners. We wouldn't be musicians if we didn't want to be lifelong learners, right? Because we're in an activity that we can literally do for our entire lives. Professional development is lifelong learning. Professional development in the education world is something that's also required. So you're going to be required to do these things, but let me tell you what happens when you get into a school district is they will provide professional development because it is required for your district, and they want to cover as general as possible what can they provide that's going to benefit the majority of the teachers. Is that going to be you? No, probably not. I have been to a couple of district-provided professional developments where there was something music-related, but not very many. Not to say it's not things you need to know. It is. It's going to be the other stuff you need to know. But to keep that lifelong learning and keep that interest in your field, you're going to need to take care of some professional development on your own with what's provided by your professional organizations, okay? That's going to be really, really important. Being part of a professional organization fosters that culture of lifelong learning. It also encourages educators to seek out new knowledge and continuously improve your practice. It's easy to kind of get into a rut, especially if you are, if you end up in a district where you stay for a really long time. I was teaching in my alma mater. At the time I took that job, I assumed that's probably where I would be and where I would want to retire, that I would be there when I retired. But then, life changes, opportunities open up. I had been networking and knew of a new opportunity. And honestly, one of the things that appealed to me, that here 10 years from retirement or so to change jobs, part of what drew me to that was just the creative challenge of doing something new. That was fostered in me because of the connections I made and the opportunities that were presented to me through professional development and through my professional organizations. That it gave me that courage and even the desire to challenge myself that way. And so that can be something that's really important in that's a resource from our professional organizations. It's just that desire to continually challenge ourselves that way, creatively. The supportive community that you can create in professional organizations is essential. It is so valuable. I mentioned earlier just not feeling like you're isolated, not feeling like you're on an island, knowing who to call when you just can't find the right rep, or knowing who to call when you've got a student that you just can't seem to reach. Those people, I have my friends, I have my family, you have those people, but to find someone that knows exactly what you're going through, that's the access to that community that you have. And some of those people, change throughout the years, and the more connections you make, the more you're going to have, the more resources you're going to have when you need to make some of those phone calls or talk to people. As you become involved, get more involved with your professional organizations and hopefully take on some leadership positions, you start working with people you wouldn't have worked with before. And so that's really a great opportunity as well. Creating projects together, even across the state, is really cool. Sharing lessons and repertoire ideas. Sometimes you just need to socialize with someone who gets it. You just need to be around someone who gets it, maybe vent a little, okay? Not necessarily talk about work, but just hang out with someone who knows that you are tired or knows that you're nervous. Maybe it's not even tired. Maybe you've got something big coming up, a convention performance or something like that, and you just need to hang out with somebody who gets it. Those are the people you're going to develop. That's the community you're going to find in your professional organizations. NAFME, for sure, and then maybe even more so in your specific organizations, okay? So building those relationships, I didn't have a picture. I forgot to mention some of my pictures before. I put some pictures up here. So, building relationships, this was at the OCDA Junior High All-State Festival just a couple of weeks ago with Cody Raven Morris. Choir people may recognize Cody Raven Morris. She's an up-and-coming composer and conductor. She was, I'm telling you, life-changing for that All-State Treble Chorus that weekend. And we're now Facebook friends. I have her number. I can text her, and I'm telling you, she was just like, call me anytime. We'll talk. I mean, didn't you feel that way too, Annalisa, after meeting her? Those are the things that you can, just developing those relationships. These ladies in the middle, I've known for a while. Dr. Yu, some of you may recognize Dr. Yu. She is the Director of Choral Activities at Oklahoma City University. Dr. Musgrove is in the middle. She's the Director of Choral Activities at Southeastern Oklahoma State University. I've gotten to know, Dr. Yu I've known forever because we went to school together here and at UCO. But Dr. Musgrove I've gotten to know through OCDA and work with her, and those girls I could call for anything, advice. Hey, I've got a student that needs this, can you help? That sort of stuff. And then I put this funny picture in here for building relationships. So those 4 people in that car, I don't know that I had ever had a conversation with them. I'm trying to think. Maybe Miss Abel on the bottom right. But the other 3, I hadn't really talked to until I became, or till I joined the board of Oklahoma Choral Directors Association. That is at about 12:30 a.m. when we got reports of a funny smell coming from an all-state room. And so we had to load up in Ms. Abel's car to go over to one of the other conference hotels to see what we could literally sniff out. It was not anything, but just, we have the memories you make with these people, it just can be kind of funny and a really good time, but we laugh about that every time we see each other now, and I can tell you what their kids are doing, I can tell you which one's about to get married, I can tell you, you just build those relationships. And I will also say that one of the people in that picture I called when I thought about applying for my new job at Stillwater. I called her and said, what do you think? What do you know? Okay, thank you. What do you think about, this? Is this something that, what do you know about the job and that sort of stuff? So building those relationships, collaborating with them, like I said, job opportunities, lifelong friendships now, for sure. Finding those colleagues that understand what you're going through in your challenge, it's just essential. And then it makes this journey more fun. You need that in the day-to-day. Mentors. I know many of you're already establishing relationships with mentors. You've got probably your high school directors, your college directors. Continue to foster those, and they're members of these professional organizations as well. They provide valuable guidance. They'll help you navigate the complexity of teaching. Networking plays a crucial role in helping you to find jobs, and offering you support and encouragement. That's what they're there for. And a mentor can help alleviate feelings of isolation that a lot of times, again, educators face. So creating that sense of community and support within our profession. They also can empower you to take risks. And maybe that's the nod you need to say, hey, you know, I think you can go get that job that you want. You can go do that. So continue to foster those relationships as well. And you will find those mentors in your professional organizations as well. One of mine that I would consider was in that picture in that car that night, and she is the current past president that in my organization that I'm currently president of. And I mean, she has certainly mentored me through that position as well. Maximizing your benefits. So I talked about this some with knowing the website. You need to know the full range of benefits that your membership allows you. Do you know what all you get with your NAFME membership? Do you know what kind of, have you been to the NAFME website? And logged, good, okay, good. And logged in with your membership and that sort of stuff. So there's all member-only sections of the website. But there's also things like discounts on car rentals. There's, things like that. Go look at the member benefits. Go look at the member benefits. Do a deep dive into that website and figure out, take full advantage. You're paying your dues. Take full advantage of those resources and all of those opportunities. Regularly read the newsletters and online resources. Keep updated on best practices. Things change. And if you're going to be in this profession until retirement, things are going to be different. Things are different now than when I started 25 years ago. Things are different now than they were pre-COVID. You need to stay up on what is updated, best practices, trends, opportunities. There's new things coming out all the time, resources in the classroom, ways to use technology, all that sort of stuff. Your best resource for that is going to be your professional organization and what they're teaching you at your conferences and what they're sending out to you in the literature they send you. Make time to read what they send you, and make time to go and look and see at those repertoire suggestions. Watch videos of their performances, all of those kinds of things. Engage in discussions on social media. With the caveat, don't fall into a trap. Don't, but you can engage, have conversations online with people. It's a great way to get to know someone. It's social media. We're all on it. So be professional. Don't fall into any of the pitfalls of getting sucked into a conversation that's not going to be productive. But collaborating online, I've gotten to know several composers just simply by, communicating with them about their works through social media. That then usually ends up leading to emails and phone calls and that sort of stuff. Participate in roundtables and discussions, things like that, especially at your workshops and conferences, at professional developments, that sort of things. We all learn from each other. And that's what your professional developments or your professional organizations are trying to foster, just you being able to learn from each other. Okay. So get involved. Don't be one of those people that just pays your dues. Get involved. Join, obviously, and join what you can. If NAFME is all you can right now, great. Make the most of it. If you can get into some of those specific organizations, do that. I encourage you to volunteer, help out with honor ensemble auditions, help set up at a conference. You meet people by setting up, present, write an article, obviously attend, advocate, we already talked about, invite other people, share ideas, all of those kinds of things write thank you emails and letters, invite your colleagues to attend your meetings, all of those kinds of things. Attend conference workshops. I could talk about this. I should have probably just spent my whole 30 minutes on this. Conferences are where it's at, y'all. They can introduce you to new teaching methods and innovative ideas that can be implemented immediately into your classrooms. That inspires both you and your students. You need to hear success stories from other educators who have found the job, who know where the resources are, who are using innovative ideas, and steal them. Nobody presents an idea not expecting you to steal it and take it home and use it. The social aspect of conferences is also really important. That allows you to connect with other people on another level. Sharing experiences, building relationships that last long after the events. Sometimes you just, like I said, you need to hang out with people who get it. And you can do that at conferences. I put that picture up there. My kids like to tease me that I name drop all the time. I happen to have gotten to know a lot of people in 25 years, and I do build those relationships, and I've met a lot of people that way. I'm not just name dropping because, it's because I'm trying to say, this is Laura Farnell. She's one of my favorite composers for beginning choirs. She and I would say we are friends, and she would too. We know what each other's kids are doing and that sort of stuff. Sometimes at conferences, Jacob Collier shows up on the stage. We went nuts. ACDA or SWACTA, ACDA in Cincinnati. We're sitting there at a concert, and Jacob Collier walks out in his Crocs and his little sweater, and starts performing with the Jason Max Ferdinand singers. Conferences are where you will be inspired. Conferences are where you are recharged. And then ultimately, what's the most important is that feeds into what you are giving to your students. Okay? And that's the most important thing. That's what it boils down to, is what are we doing for our students? And your professional organizations, the inspiration you're going to get from your conferences, attending concerts, all of those things, that's where the most important thing is. And that's the last thing I want to talk about is the student impact. Honor choirs, honor group participation, taking your students with you to conferences, fostering that community within your program. Those students, even if it's only a handful of students at a time, they go back and they share what they've learned. It inspires your group to want to do that for themselves the next time, and it just fosters this community within your program and builds this culture of excellence. And they get to know composers that way. I started to add about 5 pictures of Lydia with Dr. Derek Fox because he's one of her favorites, and so we've seen him at multiple conferences over the years. When you can share what you've learned from reading articles, observing a colleague, videos of concerts, performances, new strategies you learned at workshops, you are telling your students that they matter, that you wanted to go above and beyond what is expected in your classroom to make yourself the best you can possibly be for them. And that's ultimately what it's all about. Your students will recognize when you have taken the steps to better yourself for them. They know when you're making an effort to improve your teaching, and they understand that it will benefit them. And those are the opportunities you get through your professional development. So if you'll skip 2 slides, I don't think we have time for the
But we do have time for a couple questions.
I do have question and answer.
Yep.
So I would just finish with, you want to. See, there's another picture of Dr. Fox. We love Dr. Fox. My final statement to you would just be this. Professional organizations are not just your membership. It's not just paying your dues. It's a lifeline for inspiration, for connection, for growth. So you need to be proactive. This is my challenge to you. Be proactive in building your network and shaping the future of music education.
Thank you.